Hello everyone. For some teams, I really try to get into the mood, into the skin of the fan. And for Chargers, I did the same. Which means I'm not hammered, but I had some drinks. I had some drinks because being excited about the season, really super happy with finally having a competent head coach, and perhaps have a chance to win this division, finally beating the Chiefs. And now you lose Russian Slater. That's just so freaking heartbreaking. It sucks, and it sucks. I didn't know that this picture would just tell 1,000 words before we even started, because you need to reassemble this offensive line and you need to try to recreate the magic that you had last year. With that being said, I don't think everything is lost. Chargers fan, be happy. Like, honestly, just a year and a half ago, you were in quite a bad situation. Almost the purgatory, where you are good, but no one to set you above the edge in terms of coaching. Not necessarily the best drafting. Justin is really good. But now, you have Jim Harbaugh, you have Jesse Minter, and you have Justin Herbert, I think, playing his best ball. I understand for all the smiley faces that just popped on in Houston and pretty much everywhere, but the Chargers. I know Justin should do bad in the playoffs, and it's kind of a theme for him. At the same time, what he did in the season was absolutely freaking remarkable, and that's what they need him to do again, because Justin is going to be the key now, especially without Rashawn Slater. But with no further ado, this is the episode 31. We have just one team to unravel. It's going to be the Chiefs. Unfortunately for the Chargers fan, I have not picked you to win this division. With the Chiefs, it's just the policy. Until it's proven otherwise, they will win this division in my eyes. So it's coming to an end. It's been one hell of a ride. I've enjoyed it so much. Some new concepts arrived along the way. I hope you enjoyed them as well. If you do, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment. I will appreciate it very, very much. But don't worry, I will have you covered, like a week prior to NFL starting. There is going to be preview towards first week, towards every matchup. I will do shorts. I will probably do like one long video a week. So don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. And I think I'm just getting started with on the sideline and behind the GM's eyes. In terms of road to Super Bowl, we will be back with some of the review, how the players are doing, how the teams are doing, either after third of the season or after half. It's going to depend on time. Well, now it's no further ado. Let's start with the Chargers and what they did in the draft to set themselves into the position that if there was no Russian Slater injury, you would feel really, really damn good about that. Now, I was low-key a huge fan of this draft, and it started with Omarion Hampton, and I'm going to give this an A+, which is very rare for a running back in the first round. But for Greg Roman-led offense, for Jim Harbaugh-led team, and for a position that you just really needed to upgrade it, Omarion Hampton is an absolute stud. And it's hard to say or that he is the really nice value in a draft that I feel like was like full of great running backs and great running back prospects. It was deeper as deep as hell. But I felt like there was Ashton Genty, clearly in my eyes number one. Then it was Omarion, clearly number two. And then there was guys like Christian Judkins, Trevin Henderson, and depends on your flair. But this still means that in this draft that was full of great running backs, Omarion Hampton looked set apart. And getting him at 22 is, in my eyes, very fine value. And one of the things that when I was looking at the Broncos draft, I was like, you really let them get Omarion Hampton here? When you know what they want to do? When they tell you what they want to do, when they sign Mekhi Becton, they want to run the freaking ball, and you let them have the second best running back in this freaking class. That's where I had some problems with the Broncos draft, but I feel like he fits absolutely perfectly. With Trey Harris, I think it's a fine value, slightly above average pick, which to me average was like a B minus, so I give him a B. He's a vertical threat. He could be a nice part of this offense. At the same time, do I think this was some kind of a steal, or perhaps that you could not have found a guy with perhaps similar skill sets later? No, fine, absolutely fine pick. Now with Jamari Caldwell, that's a steal to me. That was later than I have him going, and it's a really nice fit because this defensive line, beside Khalil Mack, is really nothing you would write home about. And Jamari Caldwell is a guy that could step in and be a real nice rotational player in year one, and potentially something more in upcoming years. And if Jesse Minter is as good of a defensive coordinator as I truly believe he is, he might even make a huge impact year one. Then on day 3, Kyle Kennard, solid value, nothing super special, but good edge, roughly around when I had him going, gives them another rotational piece, quite like this. Or on the Goodson, I think like you stole like a round of value on him. Is it necessarily on a position that you absolutely needed? Because to me, he's kind of a guy that if you really didn't have tight end number 2, he's absolutely ready to step in. But in terms of here where I feel like he might be a little bit buried after some guys, it worries me a bit about his usage. But at the same time, I think he's very, very nice prospect with nice floor, played a ton of snaps, had a lot of productions, needed to make decisions. So I expect a good career for Ron Goodson, and you are kind of thinking ahead. So perhaps for this year, it's not going to be as great of an impact as you would like for a guy that a lot of people call steal, but at the same time, absolutely nice value for you. And I would say very similar things to RJ Mickens, who was one of those guys that I feel like early day 3, like early to midway of day 3, that's where his sweet spot is. So getting him here is just fine. It's just really, really fine for those guys. Now, overall, like I had pretty much zero problems with this draft. There was no one that I was like, what are you doing? I feel like everything kind of just fall into right place. Definitely, they are telling you what they want to do. They want to run the ball, and with Trey Harris, you want the guy that can stretch field vertically. It's helping your running game, but it also utilizes Justin Herbert's cannon of an arm. With Jamari and Kyle, you are investing in lines. What the shock with Jim Harbaugh, and Aaron Goodson and RJ Mickens are just really nice values. So really nice draft. Would I call it special? Not necessarily, but definitely top 10 and potentially even higher on my rankings. So where does this leave their offensive personnel? Well, yeah, I obviously had Rashawn Slater here. This is what you are missing. You are missing an elite player. He's the guy that is the one of the two that I have called and ranked elite on this roster. It's him and it's Khalil Mack. We will get to Khalil after. Justin Herbert and Derwin James are an amazing guys, really close to elite status and might push it over the edge in this year. So losing one of these guys, what a blow. What a freaking blow. I mean, there is one positive about this whole thing, and that positive is you've paid Rashawn Slater prior to the injury. So in terms of human perspective on this, great. This dude freaking deserved to be wealthy for, let's say, generations for what he's done on the field compared to like other guys. Like he absolutely freaking deserved this, and the injury did not cost him that. I'm super happy for him. Hope he recovers well, and for 2026 he's back at full strength. Now, where does this leave the offensive line? Joe Alt is going to move towards left tackle, and I was really, really impressed with rookie Joe Alt because, well, he was damn good. If he stayed at the right tackle, I would say he would be pushing easily top 5, potentially top 3 right tackles in the league. And moving him to left tackle, I don't think he's going to struggle. I definitely think he's going to be pushing for that amazing starter status. I don't think he's going to quite get the elite ones because it's just so damn hard for tackles. But dude, I have no worry about Joe Alt. And it could be really remarkable if in his young age, he can switch to from right to left back and continue to dominate. Was there some hiccup moments? Yes, he was a rookie, but still, we always say for offensive tackle rookie, it was a good season. It was exceptional season for Joe Alt as a rookie. So I have no problem with him believing that he can be a worthy successor for this 1 year of Rashawn Slater. But it means that on the right tackle, you have to play Trey Pipkins. which is kind of like okay-ish, but it holds you back from some of the super fun things that you could have been doing. Why? Trey Pipkins is to me kind of a replaceable level starter. And he was kind of a guy that when they picked Joe Alt last year, I kind of questioned that because I felt like you guys have so many holes on this roster that replacing replaceable level of starters that actually can play as a starter would not be the first on my menu. And perhaps there were better options, but when you have chance to snag Joe out, you just don't hesitate. I get that. So Trey Pipkins, replaceable level starter. He played guard last year. To an extent degree, it was not bad. It was just solid, which is what Trey Pipkins is. But what are you missing from all of this is, obviously you go from elite starter, national slater to Trey Pipkins, so you are losing a huge amount of talent. But I would say it sucks the most for your run game, because when I was looking at this team and looking at this offense, where Justin Herbert I think is going to continue to be exceptional, but this run game could have taken such a huge step forward in my vision, because on one side you would have Rashawn Slater and Zion Johnson, both mean streak as run blockers, really good towards that. And on the other side, you've just signed the behemoth of a man in Mekhi Becton next to Joey Alt. So, where do you slide your help as defense, where there's these two groups that you can absolutely run behind both of these pairs? It's not like, with some teams, we know that 80 to 20, they will run towards the right side because that's where their run blockers are great. They could have had really great two pairs on both sides and kind of just mess with defense. And when you talk about Greg Roman, yes, I am hesitant on his passing schemes, but in terms of run, boy, he can draw some creative things. And with this, oh my God, the potential was just there. And you have Omarion Hampton behind these guys. Also, you sign Najee Harris. There's still Kimani Vidal lurking around. It's just the potential. The potential. With Trey Pipkins, I mean, he is a solid run blocker, not horrendous one, but yeah, if you are running, I would say the split would be probably 65-35. Though, with Mekhi Becton, in certain runs, this dude is freaking menace. Because of his size, he's not going to be the quickest guy, and if it's about having quickest first 3 steps, that's not going to be him. But if you want to push somebody just back, throw power, Mekhi Becton is your guy. So they've lost that, but it's not like this absolutely derails this offensive line. I think it's still very solid one with still some potential. If Mekhi Becton continues to play like he did last year, I think we can start talking about his potential to be a Pro Bowl guard, because that was not necessarily the level that he played last year, but it was his first year as a guard. Can he succeed on that? He has talent and he has strength and physicality to be close to a Pro Bowl guard. Of course, with Mekhi, you have to mention the injuries. They derailed his rookie contract deals, and there is a reason why a guy that really looked very well was let go by the Eagles. They did not resign him, and Chargers were able to get him for close to 20 million with only 7 of them guaranteed. Those are injuries. So, let's hope that football gods can not reward you, but kind of pay the dues by we took Rashawn Slater from you, at least we will keep Mekhi Becton healthy. I know it's not the equal, but it would be really nice for this offensive line. In terms of Bradley Bozeman, really fine signing. Again, replaceable level starting center, fighting with Andrew James over the job. It seems like he won it, though. By the latest charts by ESPN, they are trying to switch Zion Johnson towards the center and Bradley Bozeman towards the guard. Interesting how that's going to work out. Zion Johnson, for a first round guy, you did not necessarily get what you expected, though you cannot really say that he was a bust. He can play. He's around 45th best guard in the league, which is not bad. He's a starter, and I think he's heading into last year of his deal, if I'm not mistaken. So he has a lot to play for. I don't think they pick up his 5th-year option. Let me recheck on this one. Where do we have you, Zion? Yep, they didn't pick it up. So this is his last year of a rookie deal, and it's all on him. And now you have even more responsibility on your shoulders. Can you step up and earn yourself a really nice contract? Because there is turn, first round pedigree, there is a lot of solid tape. It's not like he's been turnstile. So if he, can step it up towards next year, 3 years, 40 million, 45, that's definitely possible for Zion Johnson with his talent, given his age and given thousands of snaps that he has in the NFL. Overall, quite solid line that could have been really something special. You hope injuries will not delay this even more, but unfortunately it's kind of likely with Mekhi Becton. Now, in terms of backups, I think you are doing fine. You have Jamari Sailor here, who is a nice rotational guard. I think he can play as a tackle, so if Trey Pipkins go down, he probably is the first guy to replace him. The same goes with Joel. And I wouldn't feel like super bad about it. It's not like he's the greatest guy on planet Earth, but you can definitely do much worse as your sixth piece when you already are one player down. And the same goes with Derwin James, who's kind of their seventh veteran level center who got hugely bad rep up after last year where he purely sacked for the Raiders, and I get it. But for 1.1 million, getting a guy that still is just 28, can he rejuvenate himself, find some mean streak with Greg Roman? Why not? So for 1.1 million, love this. Really love this signing. So they are 7 deep that I don't have worries. At the same time, it would be much nicer to be 8 deep and have Rashawn Slater. Now, in terms of Justin Herbert, what is there to say? Well, he is to me probably the 6th best quarterback in the league. I'm not going to give you 5 because I know Jaden Daniels could come up to mind. Definitely Jalen Hurts and Matthew Stafford. And I'm not here to listen to Eagles fans. Giving me or miming me or whatever if I would put Justin Herbert. So I'm going to stay away from revealing who would be my number 5 in those lists. But truly, I believe Justin Herbert was just impressive last year. Dude had almost nobody to throw to, with the exception of Ladd McConkey. And he was exceptional. He was rarely doing any mistakes. He was completing tough targets. And unfortunately, he had the worst of the games against Texans. But at the same time, when you look at that game, the mismatch between DeMeco Ryans and Greg Roman was just so freaking obvious. It was a school. It was schooling. It was nasty. And yeah, Justin Herbert had its part on it, but at the same time, yeah, I'm willing to give him a pass. I understand it's not the first pass that he's getting, but dude, just watch him play. He is doing almost everything right in terms of arm talent and everything. He has a top, and he also played through injury from pretty much week 1, week 2. There was a sprain in his ankle. So despite really your best target by far was a rookie. And last year I really worried about his match with Jim Harbaugh, with Greg Roman, with run first offense. I think the biggest compliment you can give to Justin Herbert is he was 70% responsible for Greg Roman perhaps having inner thoughts about being pass first team. I think the rest of it was the running back's fault that they just could not execute the way Greg Roman wanted those runs to be executed, and interior of this offensive line could have something to say about that. But it was Justin Herbert, and he played freaking awesome. At the same time, I do understand if there is playoffs, if there is fourth quarter, I would take Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert because so far in his career, he did not rise to those occasions when he had opportunity. And that's something that Jalen Hurts absolutely has over him, for example. If you give me stretch of regular season, 17 games, I do take Justin Herbert. So, did I reveal who my number 5 is? Probably not. But that's just something that you can definitely quote me on. Now, what are the weapons for Justin Herbert? So it starts with Ladd, the good Ladd McConkey. Dude, what a fun pick. Patriots, you fucked up. Jalen Polk over this. Patriots. Why? But at the same time, it's very, very nice that Justin has this supreme weapon, super talented runner. The only thing you can have against him is his size. Can he be an elite player given his like limited stature? We will see. But in terms of already being among 20 top 20 wide receivers in the league, hell yeah, sign me up. That is freaking good. He can absolutely be your one if you had good pieces around him. Obviously, like he could be really great, really special too. But he is one, and he absolutely took it on his shoulders and was delivering from U1 all the way through the playoffs. Now, behind him, it's a more interesting debate. Not more interesting, it's probably more sad debate. Keenan Allen is back. It's a good signing. I'm not saying it's not, but you have to understand this is not Keenan Allen from 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Like, he's on similar level to like DeAndre Hopkins. Like, unfortunately, our heroes and guys that I cannot say I grew up watching, because like I was already over 20 when this guy was in his prime, like mid 20s. Like I'm freaking old, guys. But like we saw them, hitting the end strides of their career. They are big names, but not necessarily big time players at this point of their career. He's still pretty good. Ideally, I think he would be your 3. Here he's going to be your 2, but I feel like he could give you something that is missing. One, experience. Like, they don't necessarily have experienced wide receiver on their roster, so he gives you that. To work with Ladd McConkey, to work with Quentin Johnston, to work with Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith. One of the really nice pickups from the draft that, as of right now, really had a nice camp. So he can absolutely work with them. And at the same time, he has connection with Justin Herbert, and he could be really trustable source on Keenan situation. There, as of now, you only had Ladd because you don't want to trust Quentin Johnston in those key situations, because his hands are like mine. It's tough. I mean, it's tough. So very fine signing. Excited to see him back, but just don't expect him to take over and have like another 1,000-yard season. I would be very, very surprised if he had. Now, Quentin Johnston, after watching more of his tape, I should have not put him towards good starter, but from bottom of tier DS, I would still put him towards the top of the like DS tier in my ranking. So he's much more of a top of decent starter rather than good starter right now. I felt like he had a good year, but when I really watched it, I'm like, okay, there were really good games, and then there were really shitty games. And I'm like, you need consistency, man, and you just need to catch damn ball. I hope that Keenan Allen could be what Quentin Johnston is missing for 2 reasons. One, in key situations, he should not be targeted, which sounds like a back-end thing. It was like, you don't want to trust him. No. I think like a lot of what is going on with him is about confidence. And, it's like you are getting memed all over the internet with this, and all of the clips, even from like preseason, you miss one catch and it's all over the internet. So it's really hard for him to just be confident. And if he's going to get less high leverage targets in which, he knows that if he fucks up, it's going to be all over the internet. If Keenan Allen does not make a nice catch on the 3rd and 6 that he should have made, nobody's going to give a damn. If Quentin Johnston does not, it's going to be there. So it could help him like alleviate the pressure, give him less high leverage targets. And also, I think the experience of Keenan Allen could just help him. I don't know about how Keenan is as a mentor, but I cannot imagine that he would be like a nuisance for him. So I really think that Quentin could be a guy that a lot of people are trying to write off and has like wide receiver 4 or 5 on this depth chart. And like in terms of usage or targets, it might get there because Trey Harris kind of offers you different type of skill set than Quentin. But I wouldn't put it past him that he could have a really nice year and eventually kind of split some of the snaps with Keenan Allen in terms of he's going to get those on first and second downs, and Keenan's going to go for those crucial on third. I'm actually like low-key excited to see what Quentin is going to look like in this year, and I would know that I actually have faith that he could be quite good for them. We will see. I am definitely, from what I heard, pretty much one of the very, very small group of people that believes that, but hopefully I will be right for you Chargers' sake. Now, in terms of tight ends, Will Disley, I love me some Will. He blocks his ass off. He can do some catching. He's not the most twitchy guy, but he's kind of dependable, and like he works his butt off as your kind of weapon number 3. If you don't like Quentin Johnston and you don't count running backs, it's not ideal, but for luckily you can count running backs. And for this system, Will Disley is really, really solid tight end 1. Behind him, you have Tyler Conklin and Orlando Godson and Tucker Fisk. So in a team that's led by Greg Roman in terms of offense, having kind of 4 deep in terms of tight ends, none of them is bona fide superstar. None of them is like this big weapon, but all of these guys can absolutely work in the system, can give you what he wants from tight ends. It's just absolutely fine to kind of be cheap here in terms of this position, because they spent around 12 millions all the entire group. That is actually going to play very, very meaningful full snaps, and it's going to be very vital for the success of this team. Now, in terms of running backs, I really like Najee signing. I think he's a little bit underappreciated by the Steelers fans. I think he's nice back. Nothing special. Probably a guy that's going to get overcome by Omarion Hampton, by week 5 or 6 here. But I absolutely love the signing for $5.3 million. Like Najee and Jim Harbaugh, that's a love connection that goes like towards middle school, high school. I don't know what you call it. We call it gymnasium here. So I don't know. So definitely, like when he was 17, 18, like Jim Harbaugh was scouting him. Unfortunately for him, he could not get him whilst in the college, but now he can. It's not like he. Don't talk about bribing players, Amati. Like, don't do it. Like Jim wouldn't do anything that would be, let's say, controversial, right? Sorry, perhaps drinks let me talk a little bit more than I should. Now, back to Najee. Like the signing because it was definitely not a gimme that they could get their hands on Omarion Hampton. And Najee with Vidal, I felt really, really nice about this backfield. But when the chance occurred and you can't get your hands on Omarion Hampton and Najee still signed a 1-year deal only, why the hell not? I love this combination with Vidal. This is low-key one of the better running backs room in the league. Hopefully Najee and his firework incident will not impede his vision. And yeah, let's just hope that he just can play. If not, I don't think they are screwed because I have a huge faith in Omarion Hampton. But definitely, from really, really excited about this group, I would just be excited because you would be, one really good player down again because you are Chargers, and why wouldn't you lose 2 great players? Not that Najee Harris injury compares to Rashawn Slater, but it's not something like super minor, at least in my eyes. In terms of depth, Jay Harris is definitely going to fight with Quentin Johnston for wide receiver 3. There are a lot of positive talks about Keandre Lambert-Smith, who has similar skill set to Jay Harris, so we will see how the battles go. Tyler Conklin, solid veteran tight end. We talked about opportunities for the offensive linemen. We talked about Vidal, who definitely didn't have as good of a rookie season as we might have expected with Greg Roman's led offense. He trusted his veterans. And for Kimani, when he was out there, it was not necessarily special. So now the opportunities are probably going to slim down, or perhaps not if Najee cannot go. So he could get 10 to 15 snaps a game, perhaps, if Omarion Hampton gets 30 to 35. Now, with Taylor Heineke, he's a good backup. 6 millions. I don't know. I felt like there were opportunities in this draft to draft yourself some much cheaper backup than Taylor is. They also snatched Trey Lance, who is I think much cheaper. Yeah, only 2 millions. Okay, why is that 2.5? Okay, so that's weird because original reports that I've based it on were 6.2. So for 2.5, yeah, I love Taylor Heineke. Okay, so that would go from C- to definitely B+. For 2.5 million, give me a lot of Taylor Heineke. Part of it was like, I thought they could stick with Easton Stick because I felt like he was good for them. But Taylor Heineke and Taylor for 4.5 million, yeah, that's some good backup room. Although, like obviously, if Justin goes down, season is kind of effed anyway at that point. But it would probably be quite funny to see Trey Lance play and see where it can go. No, he's still on just 25, dudes. Like, that's kind of insane. Yeah, he's still just 25, man. And he's been written off by like 2 franchises, all of the media, and pretty much everyone. And he's still just like 1 year, 1 year younger than, older than Cam Ward. So, definitely some potential for Trey Lance to like learn, and perhaps he could be some of those guys that can make, let's say, later year comeback to get some opportunities as a bridge quarterback that actually is going to end up starting for someone. We'll see with Trey. So overall, this offense, yeah, with Russian Slater, we would talk and feel about it much, much better. I'm slightly higher on Quentin Johnston, which makes me feel slightly better about this entire weaponry room. The same with Najee probably compared to other guys. So I think this is still really good offense. Can it be top 10? Justin would have to be as good, if not better, as he was last year, which is a tough ask. At the same time, Omarion Hampton, Mekhi Becton, like a lot relies on how much better this run game can be when they have actually potentially special backs in the backfield. We will see about that. So let's move towards defense of the Chargers. And it starts with the group that a lot of people have huge doubts about, which is defensive line of the Chargers. And I'm actually not necessarily one of them. One, because I absolutely freaking adore Khalil Mack. I had to put him towards elite starters because what he did last year was just freaking special. Not only last year, like past 2 years with the Chargers, he's been freaking exceptional. Like, I'm not saying he was his old self, but I still think that this older but still young-looking version of himself is still an like low-end elite player. Like, he's freaking awesome. As a pass rusher, he's the best. As a run defender, he's freaking awesome. Like, at his age, to defend run at this pace, wow. I love me some Khalil Mack. And the fact that they were able to re-sign him, and again, like, the numbers just kept shifting. So, sorry, these are the numbers that were originally reported as of right now. So, yeah, he signed 1 year, 18 million. Okay, but cap hit is 26.8 because there were some void years. Okay, that makes sense. So this is what he signed for, but the cap hit is actually 26.8 million. So sorry for not have precise numbers. I have them from free agency. I did not like expect to like need to look at them anymore. But he was absolutely crucial to bring back because, well, why I am not worried about this defensive line, he is kind of the main reason why. Because losing Puna Ford, it just does not sit well with me. Why? Why have you not been able to pay him the same thing as Rams or more? Because there was money for it, and this dude is freaking great. And it's not like he's got some nasty amount of money from the Rams. Like, it was something like 3 years, 30 million. 3 years, 27.6. And I'm like, why the hell did you not bring him back? I do understand that you brought Tier Tart back, but why not have both of these guys? Why not? Like, you brought him back for 4.5 million. Excellent deal. 1 year deal. Because this dude, like, he's still kind of an enigma. Like, he came from really small school and he has all the physical tools. Then there was some mishaps probably with Titans that let him go. And then he did not necessarily play too much last year, but when he played, he was exceptional. So what he's going to be is a big question mark. If he is as good as advertised, him next to Khalil Mack with Tuli as your like number 3 from the edge, and hopefully some good first year from Jamari Caldwell. Yeah, this is actually damn good defensive line. Not special, but damn good. If Tier cannot uphold his production towards the entire season, then we could talk about some problems because, yeah, Jamar Caldwell, you are not having, a certainty. And it's also kind of the problem that as of right now, they have Otito Ogbonia slated as their starter, which is not the guy, as you can see, that I have too much hope for. Hope he can figure something out, but so far it has not happened. He's been fifth rounder. To me, he has not shown nearly enough to be considered even a good rotational player. So yeah, that scares me a bit. They also have veterans in Deshaun Hand and Bud Dupree and Kyle Kennard from this draft. With last player that I want to talk slightly more about is Tuli Tuipulotu, who I think had pretty solid second season, was able to be your number 2 edge when Joey Bosa was out, and now he's kind of handed the position of, let's say, to replace Joey Bosa, which are big shoes to fill, but they were definitely bigger a couple of years earlier, because Joey Bosa in the last couple of seasons, unfortunately, his career was derailed with injuries, and when he was out there, he was not as productive as we definitely remember him to be. So to me, Tuli is quite a nice player. Is he going to be the greatest influence? And if Khalil Mack goes down, that he can hold this defensive line together? No, I don't think so. But does he have enough potential to move towards top of good starters and perhaps like knock on the door of important ones and be really nice too? Yeah, I truly believe that. So a lot is I'm sorry guys. A lot is riding on how this defensive line can come together. If Tier cannot stand the production that he had last year, and who is going to be DT2 and can they handle that position? But I think there is enough to be okay. It obviously absolutely freaking requires Khalil Mack to not drop and not get injured. Which is there are chances for that, of course, but I don't know. Khalil is freak of nature, and I actually don't see it happening this year. I think he is here to experience a winning culture with Jim Harbaugh, and I really have a lot of trust in Jesse Minter to figure it out, because they were one of the better defenses with less talent last year, or not necessarily less talent, perhaps less proven talent that they developed over last year. Cam Hart, Tarhib still, that we will talk about, Dan Henley, Elijah Molden. So I do expect them to perhaps develop the rest of the guys here, like Jamari Caldwell, like Turi, like Tier. I think there is definitely potential for him to improve his ratings, even though he's 28. And or Kyle Kennard and guys like that. So not necessarily a juggernaut defensive line, probably slightly below average, but not a group that I'm worried unless something goes down with Khalil Mack. Now, in terms of linebackers, they have one super exciting player, and that's Dan Henley, because this dude, he's kind of made in lab. He has every tool in the box to be special linebacker. It's he converted from safety, so there is not necessarily as much experience that you would like for him on this position, but he starts to absolutely figure shit out, and he is poised to another freaking leap. He's also, if I'm not mistaken, they have linebacker coach, one called Navarro Bowman. If you guys were as old as me or watching this thing 11 years, you would remember Navarro Bowman. So as a mentor and teacher and your coach, yeah, I think Dan Henley has really special care. So third round, 2 years in this business, he had a really nice year too. Now he's absolutely poised to another freaking leap. The problem is LB2, because Junior Colson, who I thought that was a tremendous steal last year. Coming from Michigan, connection with Jesse Minter, played under him, Jim Harbaugh, he's going to just plug right in and be great. And he was shit. He was really not good. And the stories are, it's not still happening for him, that he is just not getting towards the speed of the NFL. Which sucks. As of right now, it seems like he's LB4, so the fact that I have him here is more he's kind of the one guy that beyond, after Dan Henley, with Denzel Perryman, Troy Dye, who are solid players, but if there's a guy to emerge as a potential super complement to Dan Henley, I would hope it's going to be Junior Colson with the third round pick last year that I really thought would work here. And it seems like it's not going to happen. So that sucks. We will see if something can click, but it's definitely worrying that in Jesse Minter's system, one full off season having, after him, he still looks like a guy that's just not belonging on the field on actual defensive snaps. That's definitely concerning. But the good thing is, with Denzel Perriman, you have kind of your veteran option, and Troy Dye is a guy that definitely can be a nice LB2 if it clicks for him, which when he played last year, he definitely looked like absolutely a solid option. So you are fine if Junior Colson is just a bust. It would suck for him and for this franchise because everybody, I feel like, thought this was perfect match. But yeah, sometimes that happens. Even if Junior Colson is as bad as some of the camp news are suggesting, Dan Henley, I have an utmost trust that he is going to improve his ratings, and I would not be shocked if he attacks top 10, perhaps even top 5 linebackers in the league as early as this year. And next to him, whether it's Denzel Perriman or Troy Dye, it's fine. Is it like a game-wrecking crew? No, but it's absolutely fine with potential to be actually really, really nice for you. Now, towards secondary, that's where a lot of impressive work has been done last year. And where do we start? Well, let's start with Derwin James because how much potential or how much of his prime years were wasted? How much? By certain I'm sorry guys, there's a cat lurking around. By certain Brandon Staley. I mean, he was absolutely freaking misutilizing one of top 3 players on his roster. That himself should have fired him a year earlier than he got fired. And Derwin James, with finally a guy that knows how to use him, what the relevance he was. He was playing this star Kyle Hamilton type of role where he's just next to line of scrimmage, is there to be in free safety packages, and he was just a freaking nuisance. And one more year of this, and I think Derwin James is absolutely asking for an elite status back. And it was so freaking nice to see that. I feel like Derwin it was just freaking visible how much he freaking enjoys football again. It was so nice. And he was definitely one of those players that you root for because he brings a shit ton of energy. You see how he gets football. To me, he felt like Luke Kuechly, several years ago, where you watch this guy and you absolutely root for him. That's what Derwin James felt like first couple of years of his career. And then with Brandon Staley, he felt like a ghost of himself. It's not like he was bad, but he was just absolutely not playing to his potential. Now he is, and wow, it was so nice. We saw it coming, but it was still nice to materialize. And it was possible or allowed by grabbing Elijah Molden, I think from the Titans, as a guy they did not want anymore, and making him free safety that plays kind of deeper than deepest, has good physical tools to take on coverage. His passer rating when he was addressed was 44.8. I think 38 is when you just spike the ball, so it was slightly better than that. And he was just great for them. And to pick up a guy that, worse team than you, much worse team than you, just tossed away and we don't need this guy. And to bring him up to speed and make him top 35 safety in the league with potential to be even more than that, hell of a job. Hell of a freaking job. Next to him, Alec Gilman, kind of your steady Eddie, able to do whatever you ask from him and allow Derwin James to do what he does best. And the same with Elijah Molden. They are also flexible. You can rotate them a little bit, but those safeties are, I would say, core spine of this defense. They will be in free safety sets 45 to 50% of the time, where like last year it was around 30 to 35 because it took them some time for Elijah Molden to really like trust him, because like, well, you are not handing starting job to a guy that Titans just kind of toss away. And also Alohi Gilman was injured for a couple of games, but when they were on the field together, it was a pleasure to watch, and I don't expect this to go anywhere. But we are not over with the secondary, because Tarheeb still 5th round pick, and he was playing like, well, I don't give a damn, I am great, and I will show you. You know, it reminds me an attitude from a certain 5th round corner that I enjoyed when I was watching my Seahawks back in the day. I'm not saying Tarheeb still is Richard Sherman, nor he still is necessarily super similar, but he was great. He can play as a slot, so if you are into safety look, he's going to be the slot, but most of the time I think he's going to be playing from perimeter. And I would definitely prefer that, because your other perimeter options are Cam Hart, who was very nice for another 5th round rookie, but I think he is a solid 2, not necessarily much more than that. Like, obviously, he is just 1 year experience in the NFL, but he's older guy, so is there necessarily so much to hope in terms of his potential? I would hold my horses on that, but as your number 2 guy from perimeter, he can absolutely work. In Dante Jackson, I have my doubts with that, so I would prefer to use free safety packages even more, with Tarheeb still and Cam Hart outside, and Derwin, Elijah, and Alohi as our safety package trio, because I'm not super happy with Dante Jackson, and paying him close to like $7 million a year. Like, to me, he's just worse version of Asante Samuel Jr., who is still out there, and as of right now, I would believe he would demand less money. And yeah, it's just too much money for Dante Jackson in my eyes. Like, I'm not saying he's like super bad player, but to me, he's kind of your guy that brings experience, and then you can like push him in for 15 snaps in a game and hope nobody gets injured, because if it does, like, you actually don't necessarily want him to be a starter, but like he could do in a pinch. But I'm willing to pay this type of player of like $4 million stop, not this amount of money, but as we get burned on this several times before, let me check. No, those are the actual numbers. Though like only 5 is guaranteed, so there is a little bit of that. They also took a flyer on Benjamin St-Juste, big corner that was drafted, I think, in 2nd round by the Commanders. At that point, it was even Redskins. No, it was like early 3rd. Never worked there. But there is still some intriguing things about his prospect. So as your corner 7 fighting with Jasir Taylor, why not? They also have veteran Tony Jefferson as a backup safety here. And the same goes about RJ Mickens that they drafted this year. So they are quite deep. The drop-off, I feel like, is pretty major, but at the same time, I do like the starting 5, and I don't think they are at their full potential. Like, when you look at Derwin, Alohi, Elijah, Tarheeb, and Cam Hart, I would argue that 4 out of these 5 guys can improve in their ratings this season. You know, the only one that I don't necessarily expect is Alohi Gilman, but that's not a bad thing. Like, he's just a very, very solid player. So to me, the secondary is definitely part of why I am probably higher on Chargers than a lot of folks out there. Though when we will be going through my predictions, remind yourself one thing: I make those predictions pre-Russian Slaters injury. So just one note there. Now, well, let's talk about them, shall we? So I had them finishing 11-6 again, pre-Russian Slater injury, and not to compare like me potentially falling on my predictions to the pain that Russian Slater injury got to himself and towards all the fan base, but like when I was comparing like where I see those teams compared to, let's say, Vegas odds, etc., and I was like, okay, so I'm slightly higher on Raiders and on Chargers, and I'm lower on Broncos. And what happens? Raiders since then release Christian Wilkins and are fighting him, and Najee Harris and Russian Slater get injured for the Chargers. And I'm like, okay, I hope it's not cursed. Don't blame me, don't voodoo pin me. If you believe it is, I'm sorry. I don't think I had anything to do with that. But I'm keeping this as my predictions because that was what I felt about this team when I made it coherent for all of the teams. As of right now, yeah, they would be definitely another suspect to lower my record prediction to 10-7. The same that I thought, like Raiders probably one win less, and Broncos definitely one win up, because whilst they did not necessarily improve from the time that I was talking or like predicting them, they got in a way lucky that two very good teams in their division got significantly worse. But let's talk about the first start of the season, and it's actually quite a nice start. They will be playing Chiefs at home, but in Mexico, I believe. My story was two-headed monster, Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton. Do we see that? I don't know. But Chiefs, yeah, I think like even in like neutral environment, it's going to be an interesting game. Raiders definitely beatable. Broncos at home, like Broncos have a massive home field advantage, but at home you should be able to handle it. Commanders, yeah, I get it, but still, Giants on the road, Dolphins. Again, looking at this without Russian Slater, could it be more 3-3? Perhaps, but I still believe they should come out on top in the start of the year. And I think it's going to continue because show is just in. Sorry guys if it's a bad pun, but Jaguars and Titans on the road, you should be able to handle that. Colts at home as well. And Steelers and Vikings, well, between them and perhaps Jaguars on the road, or perhaps Cam Ward at this point of time could be really a monster. They might drop one game, but dropping two in this schedule, I would actually be slightly surprised. I'm not saying it cannot happen, but if Justin is what he was last year, yeah, like the difference. Little lady, can you stop doing that? Cats, man, they are just Can you hear it? Yeah, I think you can hear it. She's just like doing this on the shelves for no reason. There is no reason to do that. Oh god. So show is just in. If he's locked and playing towards the same status or even better than he was last year, because I think he has better weapons than he did last year. The difference between him and the next best quarterback on the list here, I mean, I like JJ McCarthy and his potential. You know, Trevor Lawrence with BTJ and Travis Hunter might look good. Aaron Rodgers is not absolutely washed. And Cam Ward by this time could be really good, but there is just a big difference in quarterbacking among these five competitors. Now, for the rest of the season, the question is Mack or Cheese, which is like, well, is Khalil Mack still the strongest and the guy that's pulling this defensive line behind him, or is he start to slow down? That's a huge question for the Chargers across the whole season, but I think it could be particularly key in these areas because at Broncos, as of right now, it might be a huge game. Well, like if I drop them to 10-7 and still would expect this game to probably come down to perhaps who is securing higher post, perhaps even winning division, perhaps just fighting for a wild card. This could be a massive game. They will need Khalil at his back. And like Texans on the road, Chiefs on the road, and at home against Eagles. Not to say that Raiders and Cowboys are easy outs, but they should beat them if they are playoff teams. But like those four, and three of them on the road, they will need Khalil Mack at his best. And is he going to be that? I am not certain. But overall, I really think the hope should not be lost. Enjoy where you are, Chargers fan. Don't let Slaters injury delay that, because you are in competent hands. You have great head coach. You have great defensive coordinator. You have solid offensive coordinator that's going to run with the purpose that your head coach wants. You have great quarterback. You have rejuvenated Derwin James. You have Khalil Mack that found the fountain of youth. You have several very interesting young players. You have Joey Alt. So you have Ladd McConkey. You are still in damn good position compared to where you were just 2 seasons ago. So enjoy that. Don't bitch about Slater's injury. There is nothing you can do about it. Wish him the best recovery. Be happy that he got taken care of before the injury. Enjoy the idea of him back in 2026, where potentially Joey Alt is a superstar, Russian Slater is a superstar, and you are going for a Super Bowl. Okay, Chargers fan? I hope I get your back in this one. I am excited about this team, and it sucks, but it still makes me more excited than pissed. With that, I'm sorry if I babbled a little bit more. It's like English is not necessarily my first language, and yeah, I had a couple of drinks because I really wanted to feel a little bit of Chargers fan in me. So I'm sorry if that ruined some of the most spoken out moments of me, but I hope it was nothing bad. With next, it's going to be Chiefs. We are going to finish out the Super Bowl very strongly with, potentially another Super Bowl ring for Mahomes. Do I see that happening? What do I predict them? Well, obviously winning this division that have been revealed, but overall, what do I think about the Chiefs? You will find out very, very soon. Till then, see you and have a really nice day. Bye bye.